let's talk about wellness. Um, so many people are turning to complementary and alternative methods to assist with their health and well-being. And this can include anything from the categories of traditional alternative medicine, mind healing, body healing, external energy, sensory healing. So like a lot of different categories kind of fall into that. And as a user of some of these services myself, I wanted to find out if I could create something to make the search for these services easier. So again, my main goal was to learn about the process that people use when searching for these services. And initially, I thought the biggest problem would be that people don't have an efficient way to find which services would help them the most because they have very specialized needs. So my assumption was that their current process was difficult to find what they needed. And I found out this wasn't exactly true. So I had about 33 survey responses, and what I did discover was that although people found their current process wasn't difficult, the primary way that they discovered these services was by word of mouth. And then some other things I found out were that the cost of the service and uncertainty about the results would be top reasons to prevent them from choosing a service. And then additional things that were very important for them were the reviews and then in-person services. And so then I had 5 user interviews to dig deeper into their process and discover the thoughts behind all the steps of this journey in finding these wellness services. And I had 3 main insights, though I focused mainly on one for my project, but I sort of feel like the others are also complementary as well. So first was this theme of trust. So when dealing with a health problem, people trusted their friends for the most reliable recommendations, which also caused them to limit their awareness of available options. And then following is this theme of awareness. So people would discuss their concerns with their peers, which led them to gain awareness of the wellness solutions that their peers tried. And last is the search criteria. The people usually started their search for wellness help based on their condition or health issue that they have. So the main problem that I chose to focus on was that people wanting to utilize complementary and alternative wellness solutions don't have awareness of the many options they have because they limit their trust to their peer groups. And I wanted to find out how might we find a way to expand the trust of these services to outside of the user's circle in order for them to have increased awareness and make more informed choices for their health. So after deciding on, oh, sorry, I skipped a slide. Okay, so taking this main problem in mind, I started sketching ideas to help and focusing primarily on the point of expanding the trust of the services to increase the awareness and better decision-making. I had a lot of different ideas during this phase, and I was like writing and drawing all kinds of possible features that could work for it. But I finally narrowed it down to what I thought would be the most important to solve this problem. And I basically decided that the solution would be an app to discover and book services with wellness professionals with content-based profiles. So the idea that providing more content for users would build more trust with them and help them decide if a service would be a good fit for them. So now after deciding on that solution, I went in to create a user flow before making all the wireframes that I plan to create. So the photo on the left consists of like multiple flows that the entire app would have, but the photo on the right is the primary flow that I've developed for this project that I think is the main piece in solving my problem. Now, here are my first wireframes of my flow. So in the first part, the user starts with a quiz about their health concerns. They submit it, and then they receive recommendations of practitioners that could be good for them based on those results. And then they look through the practitioners, they would select one, and now they see the profile of the practitioner with sections including general information, reviews, videos, articles, and also a chat box. And they could also book an appointment, but it wasn't developed yet in these screens. So I tested that first prototype, and now I'm just going to show some of the main changes I made from that point. So in the first images, I ended up changing the quiz that I had to just filters in order to have a more simple way to change things every time you go into your app and you might want to look for something new. And then in the second images, I had some feedback asking about the location of each of the practitioners. So I changed the primary information that's displayed on the results page of the practitioner. So I added the location, and also because I knew that in-person services were really important based on my research. So I added that, and I tried to highlight the overall most important information being reviews, the location, and the price. So that's what you'd see when you're first scrolling through the practitioners. And then lastly, in the profile itself, I changed a few things. I had feedback regarding the contact options being limited with like the chat box. So I decided to take out the chat box, and then I just added 2 forms of contact in the homepage of the practitioner, being email and phone. And then I also changed the home page from having an introduction video to just having a profile photo, since there is already a videos section. And then I also had feedback about wanting to see availability for the practitioner, which I still hadn't added yet, but I just added a floating button to be visible on all the profile pages to be clear about the option for booking an appointment. And now I tested that second prototype and made my finalized changes, which were that I changed the UI of the filters page just for a cleaner look. And then I also added a price scale to the filters because I had feedback suggesting they would like that. And I also know that cost is important. So I added that price scale to the filters. And then I had users confused about not knowing what each profile section was based on the icon. So I added titles to each section to make it very clear. And I also took out the bottom navigation bar on the profile page just to minimize the amount of icons on one page. And finally, I changed the color scheme and added a final booking page. So just to talk quickly about visual design, I went with mainly neutral colors because the app contains a lot of content and images already, but I added just a color for aspects of buttons and things. And I chose green because it symbolizes growth, health, and other ideas connected with life, and promotes optimism and hopefulness. So let me go ahead and share my prototype. All right. Do you all see it fine? Okay. So first, you can start by putting your location here, and then you can go to the filters. Let's say you're someone who's looking for a service to help with stress and anxiety. So you might put anxiety, emotional health, stress. You don't have any specific service in mind. You just want to see what options are out there for that. And then you just select your price range. and then you get results. So you just take a look through some of the different practitioners, and then you click on one to see more about their services. So first you see their homepage, which is general information about their services and pricing, etc. And now you can go over here to reviews. So you can take a look at the reviews, and with your existing network connected to the app, say it's like Facebook or something, you can also see connections, existing connections that you have that have reviewed this service. Now you can go over to the section of videos, which is kind of a way for you to like meet the practitioner before actually meeting them. So you can see about like how they work with clients, benefits of their services, what to expect from their service, just to kind of get a better idea if that would be a good fit for you. And then lastly, you could take a look at any articles they might have, also related to their work. And then lastly, you can go here and book an appointment, select which service that you want they have, and the day, time, and confirm. Now let me go back to my presentation. All right, so just to wrap up, like my next steps with this project would be that I would want to do user research with practitioners, because I really only did it with users of these services, and they would be a second user group of this product. I would also want to develop more flows, like their bookings page, any favorites, like profiles that they favorited, and the user profile. And then also I'd like to add more social features. So maybe following practitioners for their content, or seeing recommendations from people in your network if you have your network connected to the app. So those would be my final steps that I'd like to do. And that is all. So thank you very much.